Hey guys, what's up? I'm DJ Alex Brown and welcome to today's review video. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This does not look like most of my videos normally do. I recently bought a house. I'm waiting to move into the house, but I've moved out of my apartment, so I'm at my mom's house right now until I can move into the house because I have to make do with what I have. And I don't know how long I'm going to have this fog machine for that I'm reviewing today, because I haven't decided if I'm going to keep it or return it yet. And I'll tell you what my decision is at the end of the video. Anyway, I'm sitting on the floor as we do this video today, and what we're going to be talking about is this fog machine right here. I don't think you guys can see it. Right there, sitting on the floor. And the reason I want to do a review of this machine is because it's something that I've been asked to do as a service for a couple of my brides. So I'm looking into this right now with different machines, and I hope to be able to take a look at some of the different products you can use for this. So the service that you use a machine like the one behind me here for would be dancing on a cloud or low-lying fog. They're both the same thing effectively. It's just kind of the bride term versus the technical industry term. This machine, obviously, that I'm reviewing today is the ADJ Entour Chill. This is the slightly more professional grade version of the Mister Kool or Mister Kool II. First thing I want to look at here is this display on the back. It has a LCD display that would rival an Elation moving head, so it's actually pretty nice, and it's well labeled too. You have the reservoir tank for the fog juice. You need to use Cool Fog with this machine, and of course this tank has the super special LED indicator that tells you when the fog machine is warmed up based on green or red. So if it's red, it's warming. If it's green, it's ready to go. I personally have had many fog machines in my life, and I've never had one with this feature. I think it's pretty cool, although personally at first I got a little confused as to if it was telling me if the fog fluid was too low or if the machine was warming up. So it does come with this handy dandy remote that plugs into it. It's not wireless, it's of course wired, but it does have quite a long cable, if you can see. Personally, the only thing I'll probably be using on it is the manual button or the continuous button, which basically is press and hold to let fog out, or press and let it continuously go, and then you can turn the timer on and off, which is probably not a feature I'll be using, but it has it. So it's nice that, you know, the machine comes with this stuff. Personally, I bought this on Amazon. I will leave an Amazon affiliates link below if you'd like to check this out and purchase it. I think I paid $430 and it came in next day. I think that's probably a little more than what you can buy it for at some place like ADJ, but I wanted it in fast and I wanted to have the option to return it, so that's why I bought it on Amazon. The power input on this machine is a PowerCon. It's not an IEC. If you've seen me talk about this in some of my other videos, you'll know that I'm not a huge fan of PowerCon because most of my equipment still uses IEC. I do like the connector. It's a nice locking connector and it's blue, so when people are working for me, it's pretty easy to say, grab the one with the blue end on it. Of course, there's locking IECs that also have blue ends, such as the one that QSC speakers use, but I'm not going to get into that today. What I find interesting on this machine, is there is a DMX in and out for 3-pin DMX, of course, but the in seems to be blocked off, so it's 3-pin DMX out. So what is interesting here is that on this photo that I've been putting up a couple times in this video, you actually see a 3-pin DMX in, but that is literally closed up on the machine. I'm trying to put in as close as I can get it on the video that I have, but I obviously don't have the machine anymore now that I'm editing this. But so I take it that they don't really allow DMX control of this machine, although technically it says it should. This machine can be used with either dry ice or regular ice, and there's this door here that you open and unscrew, and it has a handle on it. and this is also your handle to lift the machine. Now this is a plastic container in here, and there's a water drain on the back, and we could talk about all that stuff. And there's like a foam piece at the top of this that's supposed to prevent the fog that comes through this chamber from coming out. You have to really tighten this down for that foam barrier to work effectively. The other thing that is a slight pet peeve of mine is the handle is only on the door, so the machine kind of sits back if you lift it by the handle because it's not balanced properly. And also, if you don't have this screwed down, this knob that's right in front of the handle here, when you lift it, you're just going to open the door, which is kind of annoying because I never screw things shut unless they're being used. And I want to talk about the pump and the heater in this. It does heat up in about 5 minutes time in practical applications, sometimes even less, which is great. The pump in this and the heating element can run continuously for a good amount of time. I have not seen it to the point where it stops producing fog because it needs to reheat. So that's a positive, of course, with this machine. You want to be able to billow a ton of smoke out at one point. And obviously the purpose of this machine is to create low-lying fog. This is not supposed to make an atmospheric effect for your lights to go through. It's just to be a dancing on a cloud effect. So it's a combination of metal and plastic construction on this. The plastic piece does feel very durable. And the metal is quite heavy duty. This is not a light machine. I'd say it's probably about, I want to say 20 or 30 pounds, but I'm not very good at judging weight of things. Obviously, the spout here on the front is where your fog is going to come out of, and I'll show you that in just a moment. With the tests of this machine that I have run so far, it's been a little iffy. I've been running it in fairly enclosed spaces, and some of it did get whisked into the air. And the reason that I'm testing this machine is because obviously dry ice is quite expensive, and it's a pain in the ass to transport and deal with. In the case of this machine, you don't need dry ice, obviously. You can use it, it's an option, but you don't have to. Now, I've been using regular ice. This does take a fair amount of ice, so I just went and bought a 5-pound bag of ice for like $1.25, and that's a little more than enough to fill this up. If you don't know, if you're newer to using fog machines and such, you might not know that it's a problem when fog gets high in the air, because smoke detectors will be set off by fog machines. It takes a certain concentration of fog, just like it would take a certain concentration of smoke in your house to set these types of alarms off. Newer places generally have heat detectors. Older places often have smoke detectors. So personally, I used my fog machines that I used to have in my high school auditorium when I was a senior for our fashion show, and we had done a test beforehand to make sure that it wouldn't cause a fire alarm or anything. And then I also want to try upstairs, where I'll have a lot more open space in, say, the living room, for example. And those are the tests that we'll be running through in this video today, and this is how I'll be making my final determination. We're getting a pretty good cloud, but I am noticing some of it going up in the air higher than I'd like it to be, which is obviously concern with fog. And it's still coming out of the side of the machine. Now here's my test doing it upstairs. The fog definitely didn't come out of the machine very quickly or with enough speed to push it out where I wanted it to go. And here I'm trying to kind of replicate a photographer moving around in it and getting it wisped in the air, because, you know, the photographers at a wedding are going to be doing that. They're going to be moving quickly to get photos. And you can see it's already gotten a lot higher into the air. So this photo here was taken, you know, just as I started filling the floor, which looks great, but it turns bad pretty quickly. Within about 30 seconds, it's all in the air and not much of a cloud anymore. I also wanted to take a minute to compare this to the Chauvet Nimbus. The Nimbus puts out a big initial blast, but it dies out as the water cools off inside the machine. It's not so much the ice that's the problem, it's the water cooling off, and it slows down, but it produces a really nice effect for that time. I find that using the dry ice with the Nimbus is better, but I do question if you use dry ice with a machine like this and just use water instead of fog juice, if that would work. Unfortunately, I didn't have the machine long enough to try that. So, to wrap this video up, I did some tests that I took some video of and took some photos of, and I was not super impressed. About 5 minutes after I had run the machine, all of the fog had warmed up to room temperature enough and gone up to the ceiling. And there was this thick cloud up at the ceiling, which is obviously not very good. Now, it did not set the smoke detector off until I stood on the couch and wafted fog at the smoke detector, like literally like this, until it went beep, 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 beep. It did set it off eventually. In this particular case, there's one specific venue that the two brides have asked for Dancing on a Cloud effect for, so I reached out to the venue and kind of got an idea of what they're allowed to do, and they said that the fire department in Providence would only allow for dry ice. Personally, I decided to return the machine. Unfortunately, it's just not going to work for what I need it for. Where would this work? I think it would be best in places where either you can control, you know, your smoke and fire detectors, if you, say, a nightclub or something where you want a low-lying fog, or if you have a Halloween type of attraction that you want some low-lying fog for. Maybe even, you know, like TV type stuff. I think personally the Entour Chill is overpriced for being the same thing as the Mister Kool II with more output and a better build design, because at the end of the day, if you're doing this on a more professional scale, you know, if you need the fancy things like DMX control and all that stuff, you're probably going to go with a higher end machine, because you're probably going to be working in, you know, theater or something like that. You're going to go with a way higher end machine than this, and you can probably afford the budget to do just the dry ice effect. Personally, I'm not really sure where this machine fits in. Obviously, I haven't used a Mister Kool II. I've heard some slightly different things about that machine online. The Mister Kool II, to my knowledge, has more problems with fog escaping out of the door that closes up the chamber where the ice is. I think that machine is about half of the price of the Entour Chill. And I'll leave links to both these machines in the description of this video. I'll also say that most cases, I think, for me and for a lot of DJs, it's probably going to be best to just go with the dry ice effect. Personally, I think this is probably the first video I've done where I don't see really a true market for the product. Alright, the time has come to talk about our sponsor for this video, Crate Connect. They have been a huge help in making videos like this possible, giving me some extra money from sponsorships to be able to buy some of these products. I have also been using the Crate Connect pool service for the past couple of months, and I absolutely love being able to just search and actually find a track. 9 times out of 10, what I'm searching for, they have. I do have a review video on my channel that I will put a card to up in the corner if you want to check that out. And if you want to give them a try, you can use my promo code DJAlexBrown to save $5 off your first subscription. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope this gave you a good idea of this specific machine. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below, and leave a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it. The only thing I'll say about comments is if it's a question that should be directed to support, you know, technical things or something like that, reach out to ADJ. Please don't reach out to me. I don't work for them. You know. And with that, if you've enjoyed this video and you're not already subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing and ringing that notification bell so that you can see my next video when it comes out. That's it for this one. Peace.